Hey guys, hey! Welcome to season 3 of The Inside Job. Now, season 3, as we like to call it, it's the WIIFM season. What's in it for me, as in what's in it for you. In this season, we kind of move from the interview format into having more intimate conversations. Every episode, I will have a new co-host, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey guys, hey! Thank you for tuning in and joining our very first conversation of season 3. Do I have 3? Yes, 3. I couldn't think of a better person to sit with me than the Jamaican boss lady, hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag VP, and my best hashtag, hashtag sister and dearest friend. Please join me as I have the pleasure of having Miss Stephanie Dunstan. Did I do that? Now, before we get into all the festivities, I like to start off with a new game that we have for this season, and it's called Getting to Know Me in a Flash. Wow. So basically, it's just 5 random questions. Okay. Answer it without even thinking about it, just so we'll just get to know a little bit about you quickly. Ready?
Of course. Well, yes. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show today. It's a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to get to know you as you get to know me as well. So.
All right, here we go. What's the strangest thing in your refrigerator?
I probably can't say on camera. But what's more appropriate to say is aloe vera sitting in water for maybe a month now. I drink that as a detox.
Okay, so that's the strangest thing. She got right. Something else, but apparently we're PG. Right. Next question. If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
Let's end systematic racism.
Oh, good one. If you were to play a song you love right now, what would it be?
Toni Braxton, Unbreak My Heart.
Unbreak my heart. Oh, that's a classic. What's the stupidest thing you've ever done?
Convince my friends to cut school to go with me to buy concert tickets and promising them that I would pay for their car fare to go back home, knowing damn well I did not have the money to pay for my own car fare.
Were those Toni Braxton tickets?
No, it was Hot Boys Cash Money tickets.
Hot Boys Cash Money. And last question, this is a bonus one. Who would you rather, Idris Elba or Idris Elba?
Oh, of course, both. I'll take both. That wasn't an option, but I'll take C, both.
I figure you would take Idris, so I just put him there twice. Right. Me, of course, I would take Declan Ritchie twice. You know, I had to redeem myself from the last 25 questions.
Right.
I said Liam.
Of course.
Of course, Declan, you're in a class by yourself. Nobody can touch you. But anyway, I first met Stephanie when I was still living in LA, and I met her in, what was the name of the Den. And that was a place, karaoke night. Every Tuesday I was there, and I must admit, when I met Stephanie, I was like, okay, I don't really need to meet any more people. I had a couple friends there. That was good enough. And then I had my foundational friends, my roots back in New York. So I was like, I don't want any more friends, too much trouble. And then I met this beautiful lady. I think she was with her cousin. And I was like, oh, her dress is cute. And those sandals are cute too. You had like a black striped dress. You probably won't remember, but I'm good.
I do.
And from that point on, we just hit it off and connected from right there and then. Now, I only met you a couple of years ago, but I'm sure there's a lot more about you that I don't know. So for those of us who don't know, why don't you just give us a little backstory about Stephanie and her journey and how you got to where you are
now? Well, for the essence of time, I'll try to truncate that. So do you want me to start to where I'm at right now and then kind of fill back into that? Like, what's your preferred approach?
However you want to. You can start from when you were born in Jamaica. She said she was born in Jamaica. In Jamaica.
I know, even though people say it's not this Jamaica, it's the other Jamaica. I'm still trying to identify which other Jamaica that is, but okay. So I often, whenever people ask me this question, I often say, I'm very grateful, very appreciative of where I'm at right now in life. Sometimes I get very emotional when I'm forced to reflect on my journey and to recognize and appreciate where I am in life. I can tell you that growing up, I never envisioned myself to be where I'm at from a mental standpoint. Let's exclude the financial component, but from a mental standpoint. So, as Ayana mentioned, I was born in Jamaica, but I came to the States at a very young age. So, life in Jamaica to me was like my golden years. Oftentimes people think that Jamaica, a third world country, poverty, lack of resources, etc. People there must be struggling, starving. Actually, I wasn't, and a lot of us are not. I lived a pretty good life in Jamaica, but like most Caribbean people, the parents migrate and they bring the kids because they want a better life. So as such, my mom moved to the States and my brothers and we followed with her. And first landed in New York and then grew up in West Philadelphia. And I do remember leaving Jamaica, how much I was crying because I was with my father, who was like the dearest thing to my heart. And I was crying because my father wasn't going to be around. But little did I know that back then, when I was crying, that was the beginning years of my crying life. Coming to America, it was not to my expectations. So growing up in West Philadelphia, if you don't know, you can surely go onto Instagram, Google. It's a tough city. I have no regrets. I've definitely learned a lot by growing up in such city. It helped me to be the person I am today. Quite frankly, if I didn't have that exposure, that experience in life, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. It forces you to be tough. It forces you to think independently, depending on your mindset, obviously. It forces you, it just forces you to kind of figure a life out, because that's really pretty much what it is. So West Philadelphia is obviously an urban city. It's filled with crime and with drugs. I grew up in a community where you see death, premature death, early deaths, people pretty much dying before they live to their full potentials. You see prison, right? Imprisonment, early imprisonment. Kids at a young age going to prison. A lot of my friends grew up in single family household, even though I technically did, because in Jamaica I was with my dad, and I came to the States, I was with my mom. So I wasn't really in a 2-parent household, but things were a little bit different for me because my father was always there, and he's still there for me. So that sort of helped my discipline, my upbringing, kind of shift things in a different way. But my friends, most of my friends didn't come from a dual parent household. Most of my friends had parents that were on drugs, that were killed. So a lot of stuff. In fact, the high school that I went to, pretty much about every year, maybe about 3 to 4, at least 3 to 4 of my class members passed away. And you can read in between the lines, it wasn't from sickness. So just imagine growing up with that trauma. Then, I came here, and then I had my group of friends, and we're still friends. And like, Ayana mentioned, I don't know, there's always been this thing about me that if you're in my circle, you stay in my circle and you're not going anywhere. So I'm still very close friends with my high school colleagues, and we were our little clique. But growing up, I really didn't have anyone to sit with me, to coach me and guide me about, okay, what's life after high school in terms of college, career, just being focused. pretty much you grow up in Philly and you just kind of want to stay in Philly because that's the mindset. You walk down the street, you know who is going to be on what corner, what they're wearing, what they're drinking. It's like the standard routine. Like people work just to go back to work the next day. People work for parties on weekends, and that was it. Like there was really not much. Right? Do you follow? Like yeah, it was really not
Yeah.
life beyond that.
So at what point did your mindset change?
So yeah, so I started to fall victim of my society. I remember when I was in high school, it was my AP. So listen, even though I was in a rough situation, and I barely went to school and, you know, a lot of other stuff, my father, he cared about the grades. So I had to show him my report card, and by any means necessary, I would have to get A's or B's, or else, you know, that Jamaican parenting.
Jamaican parenting.
You don't want to face that. So if you don't have a Jamaican parents, you should probably be thanking God right now, because Jesus Christ, it was like, can I breathe for a second? But, you know, I knew my parents, so I gave them what they wanted. Like my father, he cared about the grades, so I gave him that. He never really cared whether I was attending school or not. So don't ask me how you get good grades and not go to school. That's a whole different situation, which ties back into why, you know, my answer, let's end systematic racism, because it doesn't make any sense. So, you know, in high school, I didn't have a plan. Like, you asked me what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get an efficiency. You know, now we call it studios, but back then they were efficiency apartments with a little kitchenette area and stay on 52nd Street. That was my goal. Maybe just had a baby or two by some guy in the hood. If I'm being too frank, you can cut that out. It wasn't until I was in 11th grade and my AP algebra teacher, she approached me and she said, you know, Penn State is looking to offer to students here a scholarship, and I select you. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And she's like, it was like days, weeks, every day I would go to class. Well, whenever I showed up to class, this teacher, Mrs. Bourgeois, she will pull me aside to say, you know, Steph, I really think you should consider this opportunity. Like, I see great potential in you. And I just remember one time, like, shrugging my shoulders and to say, that's not me. Like, that's not what I do. That's white people stuff. That's what I said. I said, college is white people stuff. Nevertheless, something said, you know, you may need to listen, because, I mean, what's the alternative, right? So at the time, we didn't have a car. I didn't know how to dress like appropriately to go to this meeting that was hosted by Penn State. So my teacher helped me out with that, and we showed up. And I remember going up to the college, and I'm like, holy crap, like, you know, it's like all white people, like they're well prepared, well presented. So I followed through. My teacher was very patient with me, and I don't know where she's at, if she's still alive, but I just truly want to thank you for being a major influence in my life's journey. And then so I went, and I was like, oh wow, this is like what you see on TV. This is so different than my upbringing. So I applied, etc. I got accepted, and you know, went off to Penn State. And then when I went there, my first year, it was different. And then I met a friend there. We met in Val, my friend Vlad. And Vlad and I became friends. Vlad was from Pennsylvania as well. And Vlad was different. And similar to your story again, Ayana, we instantly connected. And Vlad started to introduce me to books, and he would send me emails and stuff. And it was, then my mind started to change. And then I realized that I was a product of my environment because of my mindset. And then Vlad started to expose me.
Stop you right there. Repeat that again. That's a good.
I said I realized that I was a victim of my society because of my mindset.
Mindset. All right, keep going.
Of course, yeah. And then so Vlad started to introduce me to books, and he started telling me about Napoleon Hill and Law of Attractions. And I just started to read, and he would email me stuff, and I would print it out and I would post it around my dorm room. And it was then the transition started. And then I started to cut back on the amount of time I would spend with certain people. It was then I started to create goals. It was then I started to party less. It was then I started to really think and tap into my inner self to understand, who is Stephanie? Who am I? Where am I from? Where am I going? What's my purpose? And it was then I started to ask myself all those questions. And then it was then I started to formulate a plan. And it was then, that was the rebirth of Stephanie. For me, Vlad and I are still very close friends. He's, on with his life, but we're still very close friends. And I really thank him every day. In fact, I still have an email that he sent to me back in 2004, and I sent it to him last week. He can hold on to stuff. But once my mind started to shift, and I realized that I no longer wanted to be a part of this, that's when the doors started opening up. I started meeting people who were more like what I wanted to become in life. It was then opportunities presented itself. It was then I became courageous. And it's like, if I wanted something, I would go after it. And I've always been determined where I get what I want out of life. And I don't believe in no's, I don't believe in can'ts. Like, you go after it. And if you face a trial, then you may need to take a different path, but you go after what you want. And it was really then the transition started for me.
So, in high school, you didn't know yet what you wanted to do. You went to college, now you met Vlad, the transition and it's starting to happen. Did you know then what you wanted to do? Did you have an idea then? And how did you pursue it?
No, excellent question. It was difficult for me to narrow it down then, but I've always been detailed, oriented, very organized, analytical. So I knew that. Right? Sometimes a little bit too much. And then I've always been like in like this business mindset. Like when I was like 14, 15, I was helping people to draft resumes. I would go onto Google and like copy and paste it and just put their names or whatever. So I knew wherever, yeah. I've always been a hustler, okay? So I knew that whatever I ended up doing would have to be somewhat in the business field. So, yeah.
So how did you get into, the financial world? How did you make that transition from college to, I guess, kind of to where you are now? How did you know that's what you wanted to do? Because it took me a while. While I was in college, I actually graduated. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I have my degree in legal studies, bachelor, and then I did a complete change.
Yep.
How did you transition?
Well, I did too as well, because similar to you, when I was in college, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And after college, I took the LSAT and I got accepted to law school. And then I was presented with this opportunity to work in my current field right now for my career, my W-2 employment. And I accepted the position because three things about the career that mirrored my personality. It was travel, the ability to work with numbers, and that's what I like to do. And three, it gives you flexibility. So I said, okay, this is like the perfect career for me. So that's how I ended up in my field right now. As you mentioned, I am the regional vice president for a publicly traded company in the financial field, and I run a region here. So,
boss lady, check.
So I started that career. I started in this field post college. I was a member of the Inroads Association, and I'm still an alumni, very actively involved right now. And so my advisor, they take the personality test and they said, okay, I think this would be good for you, and made some introductions. And long story short, many years later, here I am. But when I first started out in my field, I had no idea what I was doing. But, after being on the job, learning, reading, whatever, you pick it up. And here I am. So very grateful for my career in terms of where I'm at. But, there's an other side to Stephanie outside of the career, the W-2 employment.
Good. I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about the other side. I know one thing that I am just so impressed with, obviously being a VP, impressive in itself, but also what you're doing with your nonprofit organization. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that, and how did you come up with the idea to start one?
Sure, absolutely. So in 2016, I created the Maven Scarlet Foundation, but the nonprofit was incorporated in 2018. Since 2016, we've assisted over 35 students to date. So the foundation supports children in Jamaica with the financial responsibilities associated with their tuition, aka school fee, their books, their uniforms, and we now partner with 2 schools, and we've issued a private scholarship to assist young individuals in colleges to help them with their school fees. So we partner with the 2 schools, and we select like the top performing kids who are in need, and we pay for their uniforms for the year, for the entire school year, and their school fee for the entire school year, and their books as well. I've been to Jamaica several times to be at the reception for the awards, and I can tell you that the parents greet me with tears in their eyes, okay? I never thought that I would have such an impact on others. This idea really came to me back in 2015 or 2016 or so. So I had a cousin, and you're forcing me to be a little bit vulnerable right now. I have a younger cousin who lives in Jamaica at our family house there, and he had gotten himself into some trouble, and I was assisting him from a financial standpoint, and something happened, and I remember getting very annoyed with him because of what happened with him, and I said, you know, our grandmother did not raise us to be like this. In fact, I know that she will be extremely disappointed right now if she was alive. May her soul continue to rest in peace. If she was alive to see what's going on. So I had the money to help him. And then I advised the person who was monitoring the money for me. And I said, take it and give it to the local school. I'd rather help the younger children because you are able to have a more lasting impact on them where you can shape their mind. I mean, the Bible says that you can bend the tree from its young or something similar to that. Mm-hmm. Excuse my, ignorance there. Yeah. But so I said, I want to focus on the younger kids. I'm done trying to train or retrain an adult. So I distributed the money I reached out to the principal and I said, listen, I have some extra funds here, help some kids who are in need. And then I really started connecting with the principal and I said, this is something I want to continue. And she said, well, where is this coming from? And she asked a very similar question like you. And I said, you know what? I just know if my grandmother was here, she would not be pleased. And in honor of her, I want to continue her legacy. So let's do something in honor of her. So my grandmother, she worked at the Queens High School in Jamaica for over 35 years. I want to say it's probably close to over 40 something years, but I have a plaque that I found when I went to Jamaica and it said 35 years and I knew she was still working beyond then. So she worked there and she really supported our family, not just from a financial standpoint, but from the morals. I remember when I was in Jamaica, she would wake me up every morning, go to school. And even on the weekends, like, get up. A young woman should not be sleeping in her bed when the sun is up.
They would say that, my grand aunties. And I'm like, why am I getting up so early? I don't have school. And they're like, you need to get up. Yes, they would say the same thing. I don't know why they would get up so early.
Exactly. It was like, get up on the weekends, do what you have to do. And then if you want to like take a nap, then you can do that, but you must get up. And then it's like, yeah, so I created the foundation in honor of her, wanted to just keep her spirit alive and just continue to help the children. And the foundation is growing. We've gotten a lot of press in Jamaica with what we're doing. The Gleaner, the Jamaica Gleaner, the Jamaica Star have featured us several times. We are looking for continued support with individuals, with corporations. I do envision this thing growing. Listen, we are going to grow. Okay, we are going to exceed.
Absolutely.
Yes,
For
I
those
know
who
it.
don't know, like the Gleaner and the Star, that's what I grew up with, and those are like the biggest newspapers in Jamaica.
Oh yes.
So definitely.
Yes, we've had a full page featured in both articles. We've been featured on a couple websites. I want to thank you in advance for giving us the opportunity to utilize your platform to talk about what we're doing. But listen, I believe in what we're doing. I believe in the cause. I have several people on the board with me. We're going to do it. We're going to excel. So look out. You see the Mavis Scarlet Foundation around.
Absolutely. So if people are interested in donating or getting more information, and I'll put this in the description, if you also want to say, you know, what your social media handle is.
Sure. On all social media platforms, we are at Mavis Scarlet Foundation. That's Scarlet with 2 T's. And then listen, feel free. I tell people, the cost of a cup of coffee can help these kids drastically. Donations can start at $5, whatever it is that you can. Go onto our website, www.mavisscarletfoundation.org. We take supplies. I've had people donate supplies to me, school items that we've shipped to Jamaica. So it doesn't have to be from a monetary standpoint. You can help us in whatever which way. I mean, this is certainly a help to us as well. So really appreciate your support. We have several different campaigns going on to highlight, to reward our donors. So feel free to reach out. And again, thank you in advance.
Yeah, so if I wanted to sponsor one child, approximately how much would that cost if someone has the funds and they can do it? How much would it cost?
Yes, excellent question. We target about $500 per student. That has been our goal, but you know, cost is going up, but that's our target for 2021 is about $500 per student. And so I think that will cover us. So again, within the States, $500 sounds like not much. We can probably spend that in one weekend, but in Jamaica, that goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're donating from the UK, that's probably about 350 pounds or something like that. So it's even less. Great.
Yep. And our average donation, and I just want to put this out there because I don't want to like anyone to feel pressure. Our average donation is like $50. You know, so but it helps. It helps. So I tell people you're helping in whatever capacity you can afford, you're helping.
Absolutely. Now, what do you do for fun? It seems like you just have everything. Now, I saw you on, I think it was Instagram yesterday, and it looks like you're doing properties as well. Good God. How did that birth? Before I even get into the fun part, how did that happen?
So that's actually my passion. That is my passion. I love real estate. So listen, real estate, there's several different entities to real estate, right? But for me, I love providing a home to others. I bought my first property at 23. And I realized how much I was spending in home goods in TJ Maxx. And I said, And I had to like write sticky notes on my bathroom walls. You are not allowed to shop from Home Goods like in a month or so. So I'll put myself on a very
Can I stop you there for a second? You bought your first property at 23.
Yeah.
I know my husband Declan did that too. How did you do that? Like, how did you come up with the money to buy a property at 23?
So it was my first property. So post-college, I moved back in with my mother for about 2 years. And at the time, again, mindset, right? So I'm glad you asked that question. At the time, based on my mindset, I stayed at home for 2 years and I just saved. I saved and I saved. However, I was saving to rent an apartment on the main line, which is a prestigious part of Philadelphia, right? It's not even in Philly, it's like outside, it's like in the suburbs. But if you live on the main line, like you are the woman. And I remember saving up all my money because I wanted to rent that apartment. And I went and I looked at the apartment building several times, and I had the layout, and I had saved up money for furniture. I was at lunch with a colleague who was more senior. He's now my dear friend / my mentor. He has no idea he's my mentor, but he's my very dear friend.
What's his name?
He doesn't like when I mention his name. So, we were at lunch, and he was just, just catching up. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I have X amount, and I was very open with them. And I'm going to buy these furnitures, and this is the apartment I had to print out, and I was showing him. And he gave me like the weirdest stare, and he just said, he was looking at me, he was like, Stephanie, you're gonna do what? He was like, girl, with that kind of money, you can buy a house. Again, listen, mindset. And I said, oh, I can't buy a house. And he said, what do you mean you can't? He said, you need to buy a house with that money. I would not buy furniture with that amount of money that's saved up. And so I listened, that's the one thing about me. Like, I'm always open to listen to others, especially people who are more advanced than I am. And so he was very kind with me. And after work, we would go out and look at condos and look at houses. And because I'm from a big family, I have a lot of siblings, a lot. And I said, okay, condo probably won't work for me because my siblings and I are very close, so I need a house. So long story short, we found a house that was recently remodeled, and he said, listen, this is it. This is it. If you don't buy this house, I'm going to buy this house. And I said, okay. So I bought the house, and I moved in at 23, and I moved out of my mom's house. So I started furnishing. It took me a while. I literally moved in with nothing because everything that I had went to the deposit for the house, and my clothes were in trash bags. I didn't have a TV. I didn't have anything, but whatever. You have to make sacrifices. Yeah. And then, so, I started getting into decor, etc. And then I said, I think I want to get into real estate, because people would come over and they would compliment me. Oh, your house looks so nice, etc., etc. And then in 2014 is when I started to get into the rental space of real estate. So that's when I bought my first rental property in 2014. So, oh my God, how many years is that now? 7?
Yeah, you're the one that's good in math. Yeah. I'm good in English.
It's Saturday morning too. I'm tired. Let me have some of my tea, please.
I'll have some tea as well.
Sure. So it was in 2014, I bought my first rental property, and every year thereafter, I bought another property. And then, every year, and even, so while I was out having fun, I was still, very focused on what I wanted to do. So I own several properties that I manage. It keeps me pretty busy, but I love what I do. I mean, how do you love dealing with tenants, right? But for some reason, I can understand them. I connect with them. So I'm very good on conflict management. In fact, my partners and I were joking around that I'm the chief conflict manager because I just know how to resolve stuff, and let's move forward. Let's find the answer where it's a win-win situation for all, and let's move forward. So about a year and a half ago, we were out eating. He's one of my best friends, and he does real estate too as well. And I was just like, I don't want to do this one-on-one anymore. I do want to grow with my real estate adventures. And I said, you can't really grow by just being one person. You need others in order to succeed. So we were there chatting, and he said, yeah, I'm on board with you. I've been knowing you for some time. I work with you. I know you. And this is him speaking to me. And he said, let's create a partnership. I said, okay, let's do it, but we need someone else. So he met someone else, and the three of us over the past year and a half or so keeps us pretty busy. We created this partnership where we buy the properties, we buy and hold, we buy and flips. but it's exhausting because the three of us manage this from the start to finish while maintaining families, personal life, and a full-time demanding career.
So I guess I'll go back to my other question. What do you do for fun?
For fun, I like to work out.
Again, what do you do for fun?
Travel. I like to travel. I love to travel. I love to shop. I love to cook. And I just love moments like this. You know, I mean, this is work for you, but this is fun for me.
No, it's not work at all, which is why I kind of just changed the whole show. I just wanted it to be conversations with people who I would talk to if the camera wasn't on.
Of course.
And I just think you are one of the most humblest people that I have ever met. I knew you had properties, but I didn't even know you had this many properties. Had I known when I was in LA, I would have made you fit the bill for everything. But I'm just kidding. I would never done that. That's why we had other people.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
They wanted to. We didn't chicken. These were the owners.
Yep.
But you're just so humble, and I just think that there's just so many dimensions to you. And every time I speak to you, I learn something new. You know, and so that's why I wanted to have you. That's why I just wanted to talk to you. And so back again to what do you do for fun? So you like to work out, you like to cook. I do remember 4th of July, our barbecue, that was epic.
That was best, but thanks to you as well.
That was the best one ever. And then what else do you do?
Just travel. I love spending time outdoors. So if I have a moment to hike, I love to do that. I love connecting with nature. I just love to relax though, because I feel like I work so much, but I'm young, so I'm taking advantage of my youth and my patience. So I'm doing what I got to do right now. So whenever I have the moment just to relax, just to lay on my couch to read a book and watch senseless movies, I do that. And of course, always sipping on a glass of morning tea.
What's your favorite movie? What are you watching right now?
Right now, I'm actually watching the series Them.
Which one?
Them, T-H-E-M. It's new.
Oh, what's it about, or who's in it?
Yeah, it's about racism. So it's a lot. If you can, I would advise you to watch it.
Is it on Netflix, Amazon?
It's on Amazon, I believe.
Amazon. Okay, Amazon as well. That. Okay, and then where's your favorite place to travel? Don't tell me Aruba.
No. No, it's not. I would actually say Jamaica though, even though you know, Jamaica is always my home. You feel so different when you're there. I just feel so relaxed. I can connect with my people, and the food, oh my gosh.
We were supposed to go, and I'm still praying and crossing my fingers because we're waiting to hear back from the UK government, the places where we can travel to, where there'll be a green light. So we're hoping that because Jamaica is an island, we can get to go for the end of May to celebrate my birthday and some other friends. So we'll see. But yeah, because it's for Declan, my husband, he's just like, oh my God. He was ready. He was all ready to go because he's never really been. We went on a cruise, but you had like 8 hours to go. So I'm hoping food. You can't get no better food than that. No. Yeah, so again, I thank you so much for being on the show. I just want to, again, reiterate, Mavis Scarlet Foundation, that is your nonprofit organization. We are going to put all the information in the description and also in our promo. So if you are interested, please check out Stephanie's page on that. And again, it's a Mavis Scarlet Foundation, and I'll have that. And then, so finance, you're good with numbers. I am not the greatest, but I do know how to count money. I know when I'm owing money.
A woman as fabulous as you are, I know you know how to count money.
I don't play with that. I learned some things from my cousin Carol when I moved to LA. Shout out to Carol that taught me, because for Jamaicans, a lot of island people, we have partner and susu, which is good if when you're saving for a wedding, a car, or whatever. And basically, for those who don't know, that would be, for example, if we have 10 people that's in the pot, and you're putting 1,000 a month, that means that your hand and everybody's hand is going to be 10,000. Am I right? Because it's 10 people.
Yep.
That's good, but there's no interest on that. So you're basically getting what you're putting in, because every month you're still putting 1,000 anyway. The good thing is you don't spend as much because you have to commit to that. And so when I met my cousin, I always thought that I needed to have so much money. Like you were saying, that why I can't afford to buy a house, until your mentor told you that, yeah, you can. And so that was my mindset as well, that I don't have enough money to start investing and all of that stuff. And she's like, yeah, you can. And I started investing when I was on disability. And I started with $200 a month. And once I got off of that, every month I would just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. And so for somebody that's thinking that they need to have thousands of dollars, what would you say to them? If they were just to start off, like a quick step, what would you say? What would be your best advice, I should say?
Sure. Well, first of all, just like Nike, just do it.
Yes.
Just do it. Get rid of the excuses, the made up limitations, because we are our own. We create our own limitations. Like, get rid of all of that. Just do it. I have younger sisters who I've been trying to expose to everything that I'm doing. Do it now. Do it as early as possible. Do it. Start somewhere, okay? I can tell you that, I was making $5 an hour. There were days when $20 meant everything to me. Okay, so it's not like I've never had anyone to give me anything in life. At one point in college, I wanted to drop out because I couldn't afford my books. I didn't have anything. I literally worked. Before I get my paycheck, I allocate a certain percentage to my investment accounts, so I do a lot in stocks as well. And I use that to supplement some of my investments, my lifestyle for traveling, et cetera, having fun. But that goes into my stock accounts before it hits my paycheck, before it hits my bank account. So save. I cannot stress how important it is to have liquid cash, how important it is to have a form of investment. Okay. You look at a table. You have a table with one leg, a table with four legs. The one with the one leg, if that one leg is broken, that table falls, it smashes. The one with the four legs, if one leg breaks, it can probably stand on three. So the more source that you have, the better it is for you, especially for people like myself, who is coming from an upbringing where nothing was really handed or passed over to you. So you just have to really go out there and create your own. For me, when I look back at myself, I'm really proud of myself in terms of where I'm at. It took me a while to be able to get comfortable in saying these words, but I'm glad I let it all go. I'm glad that I moved away from my upbringing. In fact, when I go back, I feel very uncomfortable. I am glad that I disassociated myself with people who were not a part of my future. I don't care what they have to say. If they want to say I'm acting too stush, that's meaning uppity.
Bougie, in other words.
Okay, bougie, so to speak. I don't care if they want to say whatever they want to say. I know who I am and where I'm going. And as such, I always set goals for myself. While I accomplish certain things, I celebrate And it's like, okay, what's next? And I will continue to push myself forward as long as I have energy, health, and life. Okay. As long as I have that and in the right mindset, there's always something on my agenda. And again, like, I don't really strive for a big group of friends. You give me 5 friends, and if that's all that I need in life, then I'm good. As long as there are people who are for me, that are going to uplift me, they are of positive energy, I'm good. And they know who they are, and they respect and love themselves. That's the type of people I want to be around. Cut the drama, cut the naysayers, like, cut out everything that is not for you. But it all starts with you, though. You have to know, what do you want out of life? And get rid of the excuses. I don't believe in excuses.
I see now. That's the perfect place for us to end. Cut the drama, no excuses. It begins with you. Change begins with you. It was so great talking to my girlfriend, Stephanie. Hashtag transition. I forgot to put hashtag realtor up in there in the beginning. See, I learned something new. Or mogul, realtor mogul. God knows if you've been investing in properties every year, girl. I'm like, I should have been hanging out with you some more. We couldn't hang out anymore. We would have brunches that start from 12. Stephanie and my other girlfriend, Ayanda, hey, we start from 12 or 1 whenever we get there, and it would roll into brunch, happy hour, and then the night. We wouldn't get home till the next day. Those were the days. Work hard, play hard, right? That's my motto.
Amen. Amen. Listen, I'm glad we did it. I have no regrets. I'm glad we did it.
We were ladies.
Yes.
Always went home. Always went home. We were always ladies, good, clean fun. But Stephanie, thank you so much again for being a part of the show and just sharing your journey and just making yourself open and vulnerable to us and just inspired. I'm inspired because some of the things that you're saying that I didn't even know about. So thank you so much for sharing. And thank you guys for tuning in to our season premiere. Yay! And of course, I can think of a better co-host than Stephanie. And as we used to say in my hometown, Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, walk good, live long, drink water, and prosper. Bye.